the more you chase your version of success, the more you're actually damaging and destroying what it is you're trying to achieve. What a paradox that is, right? And so we have to be able to critically think and analyze this. We have to be able to inquire into what it means for ourselves. We have to be willing to debate. What does that look like? Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to another episode. So last episode, I talked to you about the 6 paradoxes in a really brief couple of sentences. And what we're going to start to do is unpack the 6 paradoxes from the wellness paradox, and also the ones I think that are like really, getting in the way of us living the life we all want to live. And the first one we're going to start with is the success paradox, which kind of makes sense because, this podcast is all about rethinking success, but also it, as I shared in last episode, if you haven't listened to it, go back and have a look. It's what have a listen, I don't know, wherever you're watching it. It underpins and is woven through in very clear themes everything else that every other paradox sits on. Like, it's just, whether you know it or not, whether you believe it or not, whether you think it's true or not, whether you agree with me or not, what I actually believe myself is that we are all trying to be a version of successful, and it is most likely tied to the inherited version of success I've already shared. The school, university, job, house, make sure everything's picture perfect, put it on social media and let everyone judge you version. Like, I really think most of us, unless you have gotten to a point perhaps where you're like, I'm not doing that anymore, I'm not playing the game. Most of us are chasing a version of success that looks like that. Now, for me personally, just so you know, I was very addicted to that version of success. And I was like, my life and my worth and who I am as a person is tied to this version of success that I inherited. Not so much anymore. Sometimes it still gets a hold of me a little bit. And sometimes I fall into the trap of it, or sometimes I can be my own, inner critic and being like, why am I not doing that? Should I be doing more? But I think we all fall into that at some time. It'd be unreasonable for me to think that that would not be happening. But what I mean is I'm not so addicted to the idea of this is what success looks like. I'll give you an example. Over the past few years, as I've been speaking and doing keynotes and writing books and facilitating, running workshops and doing all of that work and consulting and advising and doing advisory work in workplaces, I have grappled with the idea of getting a master's. Now, why? Because I have told myself that every successful person who is someone has a master's or a PhD calls themselves doctor. And for a very long time, and I had people tell me this, for a very long time, people told me I wouldn't be taken seriously because I didn't have a master's. There is no validity in what I'm doing because I don't have a PhD. There's no research behind what I do. It's really interesting. So I've grappled with that idea, with that tension, with am I enough? Because the inherited version of success that I fell into was thinking that if I didn't have a master's, I wasn't smart enough. I wouldn't have credibility. I wouldn't know what I'm doing. And what I've learned over the past few years is like, that's just a trap. A complete lie. There are so many successful people that are doing things and have created things that never even finished university, Mark Zuckerberg, right? Like, we know this now is normal. And so we have to start to shift this. But I had that version in me for a very long time. I had people tell me that I needed to go and get a master's if I wanted to do this work. I also had people tell me, I couldn't do this work because I was a woman and it'd be really hard. And thank goodness we're starting to dismantle some of those things. But people also project their version of success onto you and they don't realize that they're doing it. And, whether you take it on or not and what place it comes from, I always believe people are well-intended. Most of the time, most people, certainly not everyone. And so when I hear those things, I very quickly jump to, that's a projection of you. That's not my thing. Anyway, I'm totally rambling. This is not in the podcast plan. But I wanted to share with you just an idea of what I guess it can look like to have a version of success that shifts. So the paradox of success, that's what we're going to unpack, right? Which is the more we succeed, the more we do to tick off that inherited success list, the less successful we actually feel. Now, why is that? It is because this version of success constantly keeps changing. It's like it's never enough because ultimately, we were told you have to work really, really hard and invest all of the things into like getting a house and building a family and going on holidays and buying a fancy car and doing all of this. And when you retire at 65 or whatever that age is now. When you are older, I mean, maybe not old, I'm 40 and I feel like I'm 25. So who knows what I'll be doing at 65. But when you are older, you get to enjoy life. And so every time we get to a point where we feel like, oh, cool, I just like got that promotion. How nice. It's like, right, I'm going to solve this. I'm going to figure it out as quick as possible. And then I'm going to get the next promotion. Like, no wonder we feel like we're never there. We buy a house. We're like, yeah, this is cool. I've saved for this. Like, this feels really good. Like, we do the aesthetics. We're like, this is really nice. I'm keeping up. I'm not this person, but like, I know so many are like, I'm keeping up with whatever the latest seasonal bedding is. And that's just too exhausting for me. And I'll explain why in a little bit. If that makes you happy though, go for it. But we then got to chase the next thing, right? Like, what's the next thing we've got to have in our home? Or we buy the home, we've got to start saving for the next one, or the investment property. Now, I know why these things matter. But what I'm really interested in is, are you doing it because it matters to you and it makes sense? Or are you doing it because it's an inherited version of success that you think you need to own? Because I think what I'm noticing is that the more we latch on to this idea of success, we don't actually get to enjoy life because we're too busy wondering about what comes next and what else I have to do and what other people think of me and have I done enough? And we really need to let this go. We really need to let this idea go that success is external, that it's about materialistic things, that it's about achievements people can see, that it's about university degrees, that it's about jobs and promotion and making 6+ figures and having a business or being an entrepreneur and having tens of thousands of social media followers and having great, whatever you think a great house looks like, and having a fancy designer car. Is that what we call them? Designer cars, premium cars? Clearly, I'm not a car person. You should see our car. It's falling apart. Whatever those things are to you, the holidays that you want to go on, then the next holiday and the next holiday, and gosh, can we fly business class and like dream? But this idea that that's what success is and we've always got to be chasing the next thing, I think is one of the biggest reasons we don't actually get to enjoy life. Like, we really need to be open to thinking if that is the version of success we were told, and so many of us are like, did it, didn't work, something went wrong. Like, it's not working. And so I really think it's time to be brave enough to consider a different definition of success. Now, the success that we have, as I mentioned, is external from us. It's the thing we're trying to chase and build, and we want other people to observe, and we want to be able to share online. I don't think that's success anymore. I actually think success needs to be redesigned so that we can understand it is an internal aspect of who we are. I think success is about having great relationships with people and those you love. It's about finding a community and being part of it. I think success is being able to work on your own terms in a way that's fulfilling and meaningful in a job that you love. Now, does that mean I always love my job? I was a school teacher, if you're not aware. Did I always love being a school teacher? No, but did I love being a teacher? Yes. Did I love the intricacies of every day? Not all the time. Find any job. I don't think everyone loves it 100% of the time. There's going to be pain points, but you want to love what you do. I think going to work every day and loving what you do is really important. I think that's a measure of success. I think success is about being emotionally calm and regulated and aware. I think that should be a measure of success. I think success is about being able to look after your health and your physical body and your mental and emotional self. And gosh, it's so interesting because not only do we put others first at times, but we are also so obsessed with what that looks like from an external perspective that sometimes we lose sight about what it is from an internal perspective. We're more obsessed with making sure we get to the 6 a.m. gym class every day so people can see us there, even though our body is screaming, just let me have a little bit more sleep. And so what harm would it do if one day a week we let ourselves have a sleep in and get 10 hours of good sleep versus getting up at 5:30, downing a coffee and being at the gym at 6 a.m. because God forbid you miss that 6 a.m. class because what will people think and they'll judge you? And I'm speaking from experience. Like, I used to do that. I don't do it anymore. Now I'm like, my friend asked me to go running this morning at 5:30. I was like, I don't even know what it looks like outside at 5:30 anymore. Like, that's not my metric of success. I did go at 6 a.m. and I did think this is beautiful and maybe I should get up earlier sometimes. And it's really interesting to watch that dialogue, right? Because why should I? Successful people get up at 5 a.m. There's the 5 a.m. club. Successful people are up and out before sunrise. But are they? Like, I think success is internal. It's about knowing what your body needs. It's about knowing what is important to us. But because this inherited version tells us it's external, we're constantly in this tension and this space of like, am I doing enough? Now, in my book, I unpack like different internal and external success factors and where I think we need to go. But honestly, I think one of the biggest things around success is actually asking, is this success to me? Like, I actually don't live in a super fancy house. I don't drive a fancy car at all. The steering wheel is peeling because it's parked in the sun. There's paint chips and scratches on it, and I don't care. Like, the car I drive isn't a measure of my worth as a person. Yeah. I've let go of the idea of thinking that I need to get a master's. I'm really good at writing books and I love writing, and I'm going to let that be my gift to the world. I don't need to have master's or PhD after my name or before my name or wherever it is those letters go in order to be seen as successful. Like, successful to me right now, to be really honest, is actually being able to sleep in and get up at whatever time my body wants to get up. It's about being here when my partner gets home from work so we can spend time together. It's about, I'm the oldest of 4. It's about being able to spend time with my siblings and my niece and my nephew and my soon-to-be niece or nephew, and about being able to visit them in school holidays when they're not at school, during the term time, and just working from there for a week so I can work and be with them. It's about traveling with my partner when the world isn't interrupted by flight paths or flight plans and flights being cancelled like it is at this very moment in time. It's about knowing that I can go to the beach in the middle of the day if I want to. It's about knowing that I move my body and I eat great foods and I look after who I am internally, because that version of success works for me right now with the phase of life that I'm in, with how my work looks and what that looks like. Now, do I have versions of success that align to work specifically? Yeah, I do. I want to be able to do things like deliver keynotes to workplaces and to provide these conversations and discussions with people who really need to have them. Do I want to work in workplaces where they're willing to rethink and help them redesign what it can look like so that being well and working well can coexist together? Yeah, I absolutely do. Do I want to give an international keynote one day? For sure. Or get into the American speaking circuit? Absolutely. Do I have goals to make 7 figures? No, I don't. You probably thought I was going to say yes, but I don't, because that's another inherited version that as a business owner, you need to chase 7 figures. No, I don't. I don't need that much money right now to live the life I want to live. And here's why. Because if I set my sights on that and had that as a goal, I would be giving up the things that actually I think are successful in my life right now. If I decided I want to make 7 figures, I would have to knuckle down hard on work, and I would have to deliver more and provide more offers and do more content. Now, what do I sacrifice if I do that? I sacrifice my health. I sacrifice the time I get to spend with my family. I sacrifice my emotional state because I'd probably be stressed and not calm. I sacrifice my time freedom because I probably couldn't go to the beach in the middle of the day because I'd be too busy working. I am not prepared to do that because that's not my version of success. Do I think I could make 7 figures one day? Maybe. Am I going to sacrifice my life for that? I'm not. And so we have to be willing to have those conversations with ourselves. Like, did I at one point get caught in the trap of thinking that was success as an entrepreneur and business owner? Yeah, for sure I did. Is it though? No. No. And so we inherit these versions of success and we don't even realize it. And this is the total tension. So when you have given some time to thinking about what is success to you, what does it look like? What does it mean? I also want you to ask yourself, am I comfortable with chasing that? Because something might come up for you, like, oh, I'm worried what my parents would think, or oh, I'm worried what my colleagues would think, or I'm worried about what my partner might think. And so if that is the case, 2 things need to happen. You might need to have a conversation with someone about those things. That's part of the growth in this area. And you might need to do some self-work, some inner work around getting comfortable with that version, because one of my coaches always says when I am grappling with these things, because you think you solve something and then it never goes away, is that it's the same devil but on a different level. Yeah, you get comfortable with something, the same thing pops up. The inner work that needs to coincide along with the external work, whether that is workplace, whether that is leadership, whether that is personal, has been masked and wrapped up in this nice, neat self-development space. And it's just not that. Like, it's actually being open to thinking differently and having different conversations and breaking the mold. And success has to be one of the biggest pieces right now that so many are holding on so tightly to, that this version is ultimately what's going to make us happy and well. And as I just shared, you've got to be really careful what version of success it is that you try and chase, because you may be sacrificing the exact things that you're trying to achieve. Like, what a paradox that is, right? the more you chase your version of success, the more you're actually damaging and destroying what it is you're trying to achieve. That's pretty wild. Yeah. And so we have to be able to critically think and analyze this. We have to be able to inquire into what it means for ourselves. We have to be willing to debate. If you're in a relationship, what does that look like? If you're raising a family, what does that look like? And I think until we can sit in the paradox and the tension of what these things are, we're not going to be able to actually find a version that works. Now, I've found a version that works for me right now. Will it change? Probably. Am I okay with that? Yeah. Will I have to go back and do the new level work? Definitely. Have I had multiple conversations with my partner and my siblings about this? Absolutely. Does it always land right? No, it doesn't. Does that mean that my worth is less? Absolutely not. We can't attach our worth to the external metrics of success that someone else has decided for us. I'll just say that one more time. We can't attach our worth to the external metrics of success that someone else has decided for us. It just can't work like that anymore. So here's what I want you to do. I just want you to observe. What do you think success is? How is it showing up in your life? Where is it working? Where is it not? And where is the constant pursuit of success that may or may not be yours detracting from you being able to live the life you have right now? Because here's what I know. Life is made up in small daily moments. Average, kind of boring, kind of mundane, nothing wrong with it moments. And when we are so distracted by chasing a big version of success that's so far away from us, we lose the beauty that exists in these boring, mundane, average moments. And I don't know about you, but if I'm going to live a life of boring, mundane, average moments, which mostly we do all of the time, regardless of what other people tell you, then I'm going to enjoy that. And I want to make average great. And I want to make average enough. And so I'm going to set my sights on doing that. So this is what you need to do too. Think about your version of success. Notice what's showing up. Where are the pressures coming from? Where are the inherited beliefs around what success is coming from? Where is the paradox? Where is the tension? And then ask yourself, is it true? Does it have to be like this? What if success wasn't about how much I had or how much money I made or how many followers I had on social media? What if success was about how I was able to regulate my emotions? What if success was about the quality of my relationships with my friends or family or partner? What if success was about the space I found in my day to enjoy the small moments? Because that's where I really think we've got sidetracked and lost when it comes to knowing that success should be linked to our happiness and our wellness and our well-being, and it shouldn't be something that we're trying to weave in as a checklist as well. All right, wonderful people. Hopefully that's given you something to think about or talk about. Let me know. And as always, have a wonderful day, night, evening, whatever time of day it is for you. And I'll see you somewhere soon. Bye.